Hello, and welcome to the Race, Wealth, and Health Podcast, a podcast that serves to educate and empower while we explore the intersections of social justice, economic empowerment, and holistic well-being within communities of color. I am your host, Dr. Joycelyn Morris, and I invite you to join me as we dive deep into the crucial topics that shape our lives, challenge the status quo, and strive for a more equitable future for all. Welcome to the Race, Wealth, and Health Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Joycelyn Morris. I'm so thrilled to have you on this journey with me of exploring the crucial connections between race, wealth, and health. One of the driving forces for me behind the creation of this podcast is my deep curiosity to understand how these three fundamental aspects, of our lives intertwine. It became really clear to me that in examining one of the topics in isolation wouldn't do justice to the complex realities that we face. As we all know, specifically at this time in 2023, race influences access to wealth, which in turn affects health outcomes. And we've seen it happen over and over, especially in communities of color. Health disparities can perpetuate wealth inequality, which is often influenced by systematic and institutional racism. It's a web of interconnections that demands our attention and understanding. And so that is the reason why I started this podcast. I also want to share just a bit about my personal journey and why I'm committed to the advancement of underrepresented individuals. Growing up as a child of two teachers, the importance of education was deeply ingrained in me from an early age. My parents instilled in me the value of knowledge, of critical thinking, and the power of learning to create positive change. Additionally, my father, who had a keen understanding of financial management, it would definitely be one of the sole reasons why I ended up in the field of finance, emphasized the importance of responsible financial practices, including saving, budgeting, and investing. Their guidance alone shaped my perspective on education and wealth, which ignited a passion within me to explore these intersections. One thing that became very clear to me in having conversations with friends was that I had made the wrong assumption that every household were having these money conversations. And what I would eventually come to find out is that those conversations really weren't happening. And so with that and kind of looking at the intersections of race, wealth, and health, and my dad's emphasis on making your money work for you, it was only natural that I pursued a path that aligned with my passion. So I went off to college. I majored in business administration with a concentration in finance at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Go Rattlers. And it was there that I developed a solid foundation in financial principles and strategies. Equipped with that knowledge, I embarked on a career in Wall Street. I was excited to join the ranks of a very select few people, specifically people of color, on Wall Street. And I wanted to make a tangible impact in finance and specifically wealth management. So while I spent years working in financial services, private wealth management specifically, I really enjoyed working with individuals and the clients that I served. However, it became really clear to me that most of my clients didn't look like me. And I don't just mean female, but very few clients were Black, very few clients of color in general. And so this realization was a turning point for me. And I began to question why there was such a lack of diversity in the industry. And also what was really happening? Why was there a gap in wealth? And as I delved deeper, I discovered a host, of course, of systematic barriers that made it difficult for people of color to break in and to succeed, not only in financial services, but to obtain and maintain wealth that could then be transferable throughout multiple generations. And as someone who's deeply committed to advancing racial equity, I knew that I couldn't continue in my career as it was. So I left financial services and committed myself to the advancement of underrepresented individuals, specifically in the areas of business, finance, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And so I switched into working in the nonprofit area. I currently work at Management Leadership for Tomorrow, which is aligned with my passion and vision, and our entire mission is advancing racial equity. I eventually decided to pursue a doctorate in curriculum and instruction, and my research focus was understanding the financial knowledge and practices of Black college students. So for me, this podcast is a natural extension of that commitment of the work that I did, the research with Black college students. And I'm just really excited to explore the issues that impact underrepresented communities and to continue to amplify the voices of those who are doing work towards creating a more just and equitable society. As a Black woman, I have seen firsthand the impact of financial inequality and systematic barriers, not only in the financial services industry, but in general. And I can tell you that this issue is not just a matter of statistics or data points, it's about real people and real lives. And that's why I'm so passionate about creating change. We need to take action to address these issues and create a more equitable society for all. Not just because it's the right thing to do, because it is, but it's also the smart thing to do. Together, we go further. And there's something more to my desire to launch it in the month of June. June for me holds significant meaning beyond the meaning of my birthday. Shout out to all the Geminis and happy birthday to all. But it's also a time when we collectively honor the importance of Juneteenth, which is a momentous celebration of freedom from slavery, as well as Pride Month. By launching Race, Wealth, and Health podcast in June, I aim to pay homage to these powerful movements. I want to amplify the voices of marginalized communities all over, to celebrate progress, and to inspire change. It's about recognizing the intersectionalities of struggles and victories and the importance of unity in the pursuit of a more just and inclusive society. If you care anything about advancing equity, then I urge you to join me on this journey. By exploring these issues that impact underrepresented communities and amplifying those voices, we can make a real difference. And while the goal of this podcast is to unapologetically amplify the voices of those most underrepresented populations, I want to emphasize that it is also meant to be a safe and welcoming space for all. While we will highlight that there is much progress to be made towards equality, this podcast will also serve to celebrate how far we've come. It's important that we not only recognize the progress that we've made as much as we acknowledge and tackle the progress that is to come. So I'm here to have honest and respectful conversations with my guests, to learn from the experiences of others, and to work towards creating a more equitable society. So whether you're a person of color who has experienced the impact of racism or systematic barriers firsthand, or if you're just someone who wants to learn more about these issues and be an ally in the fight for racial and all types of equity, I invite you to join me on this journey. The Race, Wealth, and Health podcast is not just a platform for dialogue, it is a call to action. Together, let's explore the interconnections, change the narratives, and work towards a future where race, wealth, and health intersect in equitable harmony. Together, we can create a more compassionate and understanding world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. So let's get started. I hope that you'll continue to listen in at Race, Wealth, and Health. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to chatting with you soon. Well, that's all for today, folks. Enjoyed the show? Be sure to like and rate the podcast. You can find the Race, Wealth, and Health podcast on multiple platforms, including Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. I also want to hear from you, so don't forget to connect with me on social media. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and Facebook at Race, Wealth, Health. By joining the online community, you'll stay updated on the latest episodes, behind the scenes insights, and engaging discussions. Share your thoughts, comments, and questions there. I appreciate your support in sharing the podcast with your friends, family, and colleagues who may also find value in these conversations. Thank you again for joining me on this journey. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and keep up the good fight for equality.